AARP Colorado believes the best years begin at 50, and we are out to prove that with our program, the new 50 Plus. It's a mindset that says we are better than ever. We can see and feel the trends. People 50 and older are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they are preparing themselves to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They are taking the time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that get up and go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with Culinary Nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things we love to do without limitations. Tonight, we will be making Almost Like Mom's chicken and dumplings. Michelle will teach us how to make her traditional dish with maximum nutrition and abundant flavor. Please note that we are offering a closed caption option this evening. If you are interested in that option, click on the last red button at the bottom. If you are watching a recorded version, you may download the transcript under the Handouts tab, the fifth red button to the left that looks like paper. Also, if you're interested in a copy of tonight's recipe, it is located in the Handout tab now. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website, www.aarp.org/food/healthy-eating. We look forward to connecting with you. So in that lively spirit, we welcome you to enjoy our Eating for More Energy with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. And here's to my friend, Michelle.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much, Marie. And welcome, community. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so happy to be here with you this evening. So happy you decided to join me to make my almost like mom's chicken and dumplings. So before we get going, I would love to know who is in the room. I would love to know your name, perhaps what city you're hailing from, and bonus points if you can name one thing that you are grateful for today. And while the comments are coming in, I just want to let you know my comments are coming to the right over here. So if you see me look away, just know you still have my full attention, but I'm reading your comments here, and I just encourage you to ask me questions, maybe share comments with the community. I really want this to be a community family feel this evening. Let's see. And I don't see anything coming in yet. Let me see if I need to move something on my screen. Oh my goodness, there you go. Get very worried that nobody was in the room. On my screen, it was just all white. Okay, now we flip to the right screen. So now let me see. We've got Carol in Fort Collins, Susan in Red Feather Lakes. I think there's a beautiful spa there. Welcome, Bobby in Central City, Naomi in Fort Collins, Maida, hello from Puerto Rico. Welcome, Maida. So wonderful to have you here. Joanne in Loveland, Tracy, asking, what are the hours for this offering? It is 6:30 to 7:30 Mountain. Yes, you are correct. So, and actually, just so you know, tonight's is going to go pretty fast. So we'll have a lot of time for questions at the end if you want to hang out till then. But we will jump in super quick. We've got Denise in Los Angeles. All right, we might be here all night if I read everybody, but I'll just say welcome. And actually, let me just double check to see if anybody said something that they're grateful for. Karen in Longmont, she is grateful for a new job. Oh, you get jazz hands for a new job. Congratulations, Karen. That is awesome. I wish you much success in your new adventure. All right, so tonight you saw the title, Almost Like Mom's Chicken and Dumplings. And the reason why I titled it that way is because I took the traditional chicken and dumplings recipe and I just added my culinary nutrition spin on it. So before we get going, I can tell you a little housekeeping. The recipe, if you want to follow along, whether you're cooking with us tonight, which I sure hope you are, but if not, of course, sit back, relax, and just watch the demonstration, and you'll be able to cook with us, or excuse me, cook this on your own time. So with that said, the recipe should be at the very bottom of your screen. It'll be like some red circles. You'll see it in the middle. It'll look like a stack of papers. If you click on that button, you should be able to download the recipe I created for you. I hear that if you're on an iPad, that row of red circles might be on the left side. So if you don't see it on the bottom, look to the left of your screen and you can download it, print it, and it's your gift. So let's jump in. So first things first, we're gonna chop some onion. I typically wear onion goggles. I will admit I'm a bit of a wimp with the onions, but I did this ahead of time so that you wouldn't see me crying. And I'm also kind of keeping my distance from the onions. Let's see, so we want to chop the onions very coarsely. I just chopped about a medium yellow onion. For this recipe, I prefer yellow or white just because the red, even though it might have a little bit more nutrients in it, it doesn't make it look as pretty. So because the dumplings already look a little, let's just say different, let's just try to make it as pretty as possible so that, we're then encouraged to eat it. So chop your onion, and again, it can be coarsely chopped. We want it just to be bite-sized because we are going to be dipping into that delicious chicken and dumplings. So that's the onion. I went ahead and I chopped up 3 garlic cloves, and I chopped them pretty coarsely as well. I like to say in culinary nutrition, I am a culinary nutritionist, there's no such thing as perfection except for the nutrition that you get in your body. But the chops, they can be just as ugly as you want, as long as we're getting these yummy, delicious antioxidants in our system. So that's the garlic. We've also got 3 to 4 celery stalks. And similarly, I just cut them coarsely. You can cut yours smaller if you prefer, diced up celery. And don't worry, even though I chop this, and hopefully you are cooking along with me, I promise you will have time for all of this. So follow along with my voice or follow along with the handout, but I won't leave you hanging. You have my word. All right, I see some movement before I move on. Let's see. It says there's no attachment in the handout. Uh-oh. All right, well, hang on. We'll either work on that now and or if we can't get to it this hour, we'll make sure to email you a copy because I definitely want you to have your own copy. Oh, and it sounds like Allison is all over it. Sweet. All right. So we chopped up our 1 yellow or white onion. We chopped up 3 to 4 garlic cloves. We chopped up the celery, and then I chopped up, in the recipe I said 2 to 3 carrots. I actually have the baby carrots. I bought these, my kiddos snack on them. So I just grabbed enough that looked like it might make up 2 to 3 whole carrots. So I just chopped them up. You can see very coarsely as well. Surprise, surprise. So with that, we are going to use either full fat butter, ghee, or coconut oil. And I actually have an allergy to dairy, and I know a lot of people in our community do as well. So that's why I recommend either the coconut oil or avocado oil to cook, because you can cook either the avocado oil or the coconut oil at high heats, and it still keeps its properties. Whereas, let's say like olive oil, it's an amazing antioxidant when it's cooler, but we definitely don't want to cook with olive oil at higher heats. All right, so turn your stove on to about medium-high heat, and then whichever healthy fat you chose, put in about a tablespoon of that. I'm doing, like I said, the coconut oil, and we'll stir that around to make sure it is melting. Oh, it's melting quickly. Let me turn my heat down a little bit, because I don't want to steam us out of here or smoke us out of here. And then we're going to go ahead, and actually before I put it in, let's see. Monty says the handout worked fine on the desktop computer. Oh, well, that's great news. Okay, fantastic. So let's put in our onion. And thanks for letting us know, Monty. That is the community spirit I am asking for this evening. So the more comments, the better. Thank you again for being a part of the community and for being with us this evening. So I just put in the onion, garlic. I'll try my best not to sing too much for you all. I'm definitely more of a dancer than a singer. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings tonight. Ooh, how about that? And so now you want to stir the mixture. Again, it's the onion, the garlic, smells, and the celery. And we want to stir it to make sure it all gets covered by the fat. You can see I've got a bit of a smoke point happening right now because the pot was a little bit hotter to begin with, and it happens again. No perfection, but we're getting that nutrition in, right? All right, let's see. It looks like we're working out the PDF. Do we have any questions at this point besides the handout and the PDF? All right, so we're going to next put in about a teaspoon of sea salt. And in my recipes, I always like to point out that I use the sea salt and stuff because the white salts tend to be made out of chemicals and things that you definitely won't see out in your garden or out in nature, whereas sea salt comes from the sea. And the Himalayan pink salt comes from the mountain. So I try to be conscientious of the salt that we are putting in our bodies. And then again, give your mixture a nice little mixy mix. I'm going to do this for almost up to 5 minutes. I think we're about 3 minutes in now. Just until these veggies get a little tender, but not too tender. I actually like a little bit of crunch in my soup, in my final chicken and dumplings mixture. All right, so we'll give that another minute. Let's see if we have any others. So what about kosher salt? Awesome question, Dorna. Same thing, sadly. I love it because of the texture and the flake, but I promise you can find that flaky texture in a lot of great sea salts. But if you check the box on your kosher salt and you read down, my guess is you're not going to see anything that you can find out in nature. So there's my 2 cents on that. What can I use instead of onions? Great question. Leeks. Leeks would be amazing. They always make great bases for soups. I would do the leeks with the celery and the carrots and the garlic if you don't like onion. So thank you for asking. Wonderful. And let's see. We've got the kosher salt. Looks like Allison's saying the email might, let's see, on the safe side, I will email it as soon as possible, but it probably won't get there till Monday. Sorry for the delay. Not sure why some can see it and why some can't. All right, so I'm sorry we can't get it to you guys, to some of you right away, but it sounds like we are working on it. Please keep us posted because I definitely want you to have your gift to walk away with. But also that means you just have to really pay attention tonight, right? And or one thing I love about AARP and the platform we're on is you always get your replay. So I think tomorrow you'll get a nice little email saying, click this button for the replay. So there's that. Let's see, anything else before we go on? All right, so now we're going to do 2 cups of chicken broth. My food philosophy is it just is, cooking from scratch is going to be better. So I know there are people in our community who make their own broth, whether it's veggie broth, chicken broth, turkey broth. Maybe some of you made turkey broth with the leftover bones, the Thanksgiving turkey, and I always recommend that. However, I also know there's a lot of us who are very busy, like myself, and so I do kind of feel like I'm cheating using the store-bought chicken broth, but it's just as delicious. I just know it's a little bit more nutritious when you make it yourself. So there's a little nudge, wink, wink. If you have time, please make your own broth. And then let us know about it so we can celebrate you and get my jazz hands. All right, so 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to do a little stir. Some of the onions came to the side, onions and garlic. I'm going to get that in the liquid. And then we're going to use 2 cups of alternative milk. So please just put the directions. I just got goosebumps. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Denise. That is more community in action. So for those of you all who haven't received your handout yet, Denise has so kindly copied and pasted the directions right here in the chat. So thank you, Denise. Very, very kind of you. All right, so 2 cups of the chicken broth in mine. For those of you who might be vegetarian or wanting to make this vegetarian, of course, feel free to do a vegetable broth. And then at the end, of course, just don't put the chicken in. It'll still be delicious. And then we're going to also do 2 cups of alternative milk. I made this delicious almond milk from scratch for you all because a lot of milks, like the dairy milk in particular, can be very inflammatory for a lot of our bodies. Whether you consider yourself lactose intolerant or not, I like to say that cow milk was made for baby cows. So tonight we are using the almond milk before I get up on my soapbox. And we're just gonna mix all that together. Oat milk could be delicious in this recipe. Macadamia nut milk could be delicious in this recipe. What else would be good? You know, water would be okay, but it won't give it that thickness and that like down-home comfort yumminess that I think we think of when we think of chicken and dumplings. So we're gonna mix that all together, and then I'm gonna put the lid on and see if we can get a nice simmer so that all these ingredients can simmer together. And I'm gonna check the comments to see if we have any other questions or comments. Let's see. So Beverly asked, can you use regular milk? So yes, I answered that. Of course you can. I'll just look the other way if that's all you have in your house. I just recommend, if you're willing to try alternative milks, it's going to be less inflammatory for your body. All right. And then Denise is also putting in the ingredients. Looks like you did the ingredients for the dumplings. Thank you again. Allison says, you are awesome, Denise. Yes, she is. And Eleanor says, I see you use Kirkland's chicken broth too. Love it. Yes. I will tell you, one of my little family inside jokes is that Costco is my husband's favorite store on earth. So anytime there's an opportunity to go to Costco, even if it's just like I'm missing one egg, he's like, oh, he's the first one to jump up. I'll go. I'm headed to Costco. So yes, we got the chicken broth from Costco. And I'm not endorsed by them. It just happens to be my husband's favorite store on earth. All right, let's see. April says, I love your pot. What size and type of pot are you using? Awesome question. Thank you. So it looks like the brand is Lodge, Lodge. And I'm sorry, I don't know what size it is. I'm not great with dimensions, but I just found this at like Marshall's. And again, I just mentioned the husband. He's actually the one that found it in Marshall's and texted me a photo and said, is this something you'd like? I'm like, it looks like something I would love. And so there's that story. All right, so as that simmers, let's make the dumplings get jazz hands as well. Can you tell it's one of those nights? I just need the jazz hands to keep me going. Okay, I'm gonna move the knife out of the way. So I poured 1 cup of gluten-free flour. And the reason why I chose gluten-free flour is, again, with the allergies. Even if you don't identify as gluten intolerant, the wheat, just because of the way it's grown in 2021, I won't get too sciencey on you, but I will just say it's really not so good for any of our bodies. Speaking as a culinary nutritionist, I am not a doctor. Don't claim to be one, so of course, talk to your doctor first if you ever have any questions about anything I talk about tonight. But I strongly recommend you just try the gluten-free flour if you haven't already. And then if anybody's going to ask, I'll jump ahead. Yes, you can use your regular flour if that's all you have in your cabinet. Again, I'll look the other way. No judgment here. I'm not in your face. I definitely try to meet people where they are. And just hopefully maybe some of the things I talk about will rub off on you. Okay, so Katie says it's a 7-quart. Thank you, Katie Lee and Brian. Thank you both for being here. Yay. And, it looks like Beverly put the link to where to buy it. Bam. This is a community. I'm loving this community. Okay, let's see what else. Okay, so Carolyn's saying they have great bone broth at Costco too. More collagen than regular stock. Nicely done, yes. And we want that collagen to repair our muscles. So thank you for that. You're exactly right. Actually, no, we ran out of that. Okay, so let's get to the dumplings. And feel free to dance and to sing as much as you want in your own kitchen. I just had a little brain crash, so I'm like, hopefully one day we'll be doing this in person, and I won't have to say in your kitchen, I'll have to say in our kitchen. But then for those of you who are not in Denver, of course, we'll stream you into the party as well. All right, 1 cup of gluten-free flour. Next, we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Plus I like mine a little bit on the saltier side. A 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. That I will not eyeball. As many of you know, I have a feeling there's probably superior bakers in our community, superior to me, because I'm really not so much of a baker. But one thing I do know about baking is you want to get pretty precise, pretty exact measurements so that things don't go wonky. When you're just kind of cooking, regular entrees, a little bit of this, a little bit of that can make something great, but I've learned the hard way, sadly. It's not the same thing with baking. So 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 large egg. Let's see, I've got my egg here. I'm gonna crack it in a side dish just to make sure I don't get any shells in the bowl. Because again, I am a culinary nutritionist. I'm not a chef. I'm always impressed with those people that they can go crack and with one hand. I don't think that's gonna ever be me, and that's okay. We all have our gifts, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of loosely scramble this egg, the yolk and the whites and all. Pour it into the dry mix, and then the recipe says 3 tablespoons water, but feel free to grab a little bit more because I want the texture to be like a doughy texture, and depending on where you are in, I was gonna say the atmosphere, maybe I should say wherever the atmosphere is around you. I know here in Denver, we are a mile high and it gets very dry here. So we tend to need a little bit more water and a little less baking time. But you're just gonna mix it together and take your time when you add the water because it's going to be crumbly in the beginning, but if you keep mixing, it like slowly softens it. And we wanna get a nice dough. I'm just gonna double check on the soup. I don't hear the simmer. I want to hear some simmer. Oh, did you see that nice little steam? Okay, it's on its way, but I'm still gonna give it a little bit more heat because I do want it to be simmering right now. I want it simmering before we add our dumplings. And my mixture, just so you can see, it's like kind of still dry looking. So I'm just gonna slowly keep adding in about 1 tablespoon at a time, a little bit more filtered water. And as I stir, I'll see if there's any questions or comments. So Deborah says, how much sodium is in the Costco broth? Great question. Let's see. So it says 440 milligrams sodium in the Costco broth. And I'm sorry, Deborah asked that question about the sodium. Carolyn says, unless you are salt sensitive, salt is good for you. Sugar is the devil. I'm just gonna leave that one right there. I could say a lot, and I just don't want to get in trouble because we're here to I'm bringing you my culinary nutrition spin, and food can just be so personal for everyone. I mean, we all have different bodies, different preferences, and I really try to meet people where they are. And with my food philosophy, which is making it from scratch and mostly plant-based eating, I still definitely believe in animal protein for my body. I know it's not for everybody's body, but yeah, very low sugar and low inflammatory ingredients. So tonight's menu covers all of those bases. And it's interesting, my dough isn't like doing up as fast as I expected it to. So I'm just gonna keep going until I get that full dough because I want some good dumplings tonight. How about you? Oh, good. Now we're starting to get that dough consistency. Just do a little bit more water. And again, you want to go slow just because you don't want it too soppy because then they won't rise and and get into that dumpling feeling. And for any of you that this is new, like if you've never had dumplings before, because I'll tell you, this was kind of new to me just like 2 years ago. Dumplings are, we're going to make like little balls, and they're going to actually bake inside of the soup. And so you have like this soup with these little yummy dumpling balls to eat. So you get that nourishing chicken, the protein from the chicken and or the broth if you're making this vegetarian. Then you also get that comfort feeling and the comfort food of these carbs that are definitely on the healthier side. Well, when you're making it gluten-free. If you're making it normal flour, again, trying my eyes tonight, but maybe next time try the gluten-free flour. Okay, so I've got my dough, and you can see it's just a nice doughy consistency. And it doesn't look like a lot, but I'm telling you, once we get it into the soup, it expands. So hopefully yours is simmering. I'm like, oh, I think I hear a little simmer. We're going to grab our teaspoon, and let's see. Oh, good. Yes, we do have a nice simmer going on. Isn't that just lovely? Doesn't this just make you feel like nice and homey, having this nice steam? You can even get like a facial going on if you want. Okay, not tonight, different show. All right, so I'll give this soup a little stir before I add our dough. So with the dough, we're gonna take our teaspoon. I think in the directions, I might have said tablespoon. But I'm just gonna do like a heaping teaspoon. And I start around the perimeters, and I just, simple as that, I just drop it right there into the liquid. And you just wanna make sure that the dumplings aren't touching. We want them to have space because they will expand. It's kind of really fun science that I've never been that science kid. Science gets me really, really excited. So something that's happening here, the dough expands, but it also keeps its consistency. So it feels like, or it tastes like a nice little muffin when we get done. Muffin, roll. And I'm just going around the perimeter with these spoonful of dough, making sure they're not touching. They are close to each other because this is kind of a lot of dough for this size pot. But we're gonna get it all in there because the dumplings are my favorite part. Although I have to say the chicken actually can be my favorite. Well, maybe that's why they both got headlines in the title. I like the chicken and I like the dumplings. So we're in luck tonight. And now I'm moving towards the center to find more space for these beautiful dumplings. And then this last bit, I am not a fan of any food waste, so anything I can get in there is getting in the pot. All right, I'll put that to the side. And now we're going to cover our soup, and we're gonna let the dumplings cook for anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. That's about how long it takes. Then at the end, we'll test it with a toothpick to see if it comes out clean and go from there. So let me start the timer. All right, timer's on for 10 minutes. We'll check it. And let me see if there's any questions before. Guess what? I came prepared with questions because I knew we'd have a little bit of time to chat. So let's see what we've got first. So Beverly says, I have taken many hour-long cooking tutorials, but yours are my absolute favorite. You rock! Oh my gosh, Beverly, no, you rock. You just made my night. Thank you so much. That feels amazing. I love being part of this community. And fun news, and I'll say it again at the end, I'll try not to forget, but I'll be back in February and then quite a few more times. So check AARP Colorado, the website, and you'll see when I'll be back. Hopefully you never get tired of my jazz hands because they have a life of their own. All right, so while we're waiting for this to simmer, I have a little quiz. And guess what? The winner gets a dumpling. All right, so for those of you who got the clean fingers, let's go. For those of you who are still chopping and or cooking, don't worry about it. We'll catch you up. All right, first question. What % of Americans eat enough vegetables? And this is according to WebMD, just as a hint, hint, if anybody needs to do a quick Google, but hopefully you're not cheating because this is my community and you guys are super smart. So just as a guess, what percent of Americans do you think eat enough vegetables on a daily basis? And while you're thinking about it and typing it in, Beverly's asking, what is arrowroot? Okay, love that question, and I promise you have my word, we will answer that question. Let's see what people are saying about the percentage of Americans who eat enough vegetables. We've got 40%, 20%, 15%, 55%. And the winner is, Dorna's the closest at 15. The answer is 9%. Can you believe that? I even get goosebumps thinking about that because it just breaks my heart. Only about 9% of Americans are getting enough vegetables. So my encouragement to you is get those vegetables in whenever possible. I can tell you in the mornings, I really enjoy doing smoothies, and I just grab like huge handfuls of spinach to put them in, because that's a way you can get your fiber in and there's really no taste. Like you can make your smoothies taste whatever way you want, but you know you're getting that spinach. So that's one little tip. Also, maybe when you're getting home from work or getting home from running errands or however your day goes, perhaps pull out the mini carrots. We also like to munch on olives at the end of the day. And of course, nuts, it's a great protein, not in the veggies, but just something to think about if you might be in that 9%. Or I guess it would be in the 81%. No, even worse, the 91% of us Americans that don't get enough. All right, moving on. Let's see, I saw some movement. Let me make sure. Ricky got in there. Yeah, Ricky, can you believe only 9% of Americans get enough vegetables on a daily basis? Okay, this one's kind of fun. Green peas are an example of a lean protein that you can replace meat in your diet. True or false? So basically, do you think green peas have enough protein to replace the animal protein in your diet? Do I get any trues, any falses? Anybody try green pea protein to I guess meet your protein needs? Let's see, we've got false, true, yes, true. And Allison's saying she's playing the Jeopardy song in her head. Here, I'll do the Jeopardy dance because again, I don't think you guys want to hear me sing. All right, let's see, we've got 5.5 minutes for some answers and some questions. So the answer is actually false. It is an awesome protein. So for those of you who have it in your smoothies, or maybe you sprinkle it on top of your salads, awesome job. But the recommendation for the protein is we want a minimum of 20 grams of protein per meal. Hopefully those meals are 3 meals a day minimum. We want at least 20 grams of protein, and you're just not going to get that in many plant foods. That's why we want to lean on our animals if you're okay with that. Again, if you're a vegetarian, even a vegan, I still love you, still respect you. I know for my body, the animal protein gets me up in that protein level. All right, next question. This one's kind of fun. This one kind of made me really think for a minute, so pay attention to this one. All right, which of the following is a whole grain? You get 4 options: popcorn, couscous, multigrain bread, or a corn tortilla. So again, which of the following is a whole grain? Popcorn, couscous, multigrain bread, or a corn tortilla? Let's see. Let's see what this community thinks about this question. A whole grain. I'm going to take a sip of water while I wait. Okay, we've got popcorn, couscous, corn tortilla, popcorn. All right, so Denise, Tracy, and Teresa, you all 3 get dumplings tonight. Congratulations. Popcorn is the only whole grain. I will tell you. Oh, and the reason is because it's that whole grain Yeah, full, whole. The couscous is actually a wheat product. It's kind of like a pasta product. The multigrain bread, that of course is lots of different grains, and they're usually cracked grains to get that bread. And then corn tortillas, again, it's going to be a smashed grain. It can be sometimes multigrain, but to say a whole grain, that popcorn is in its like whole form. All right, let's see the minutes. Okay, we've got time for one more, and then we're going to start chopping some parsley to add into our delicious soup. Okay. Oh, this is kind of related to a question we had earlier. So, what type of food is the biggest single source of sodium in the American diet? And this time we get 4 options as well. Chicken dishes, pizza, burgers and sandwiches, or pasta and pasta dishes. So what type of food is the biggest single source of sodium in the American diet? Chicken dishes, pizza, burgers and sandwiches, pasta and pasta dishes. Let's see what this community thinks. Okay, we've got pizza, 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 sandwiches and burgers, pizza, 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 pizza. Sound like I'm a commercial now. So you would think, and I would agree, but Denise for the win tonight. Bravo, Denise. It's actually the sandwiches and the burgers are loaded with the sodium. And it's just so sad because we see these fast food restaurants popping up all day, every day, everywhere. And it's easy, and I know I get that, but it's also easy to plan ahead and to make yummy dishes like the one we're making tonight to get that nutrition in. The pizza, I will say, they're actually the highest in sugar. Pizza sauce is usually pretty well known to be loaded with sugar. It's not something people automatically think of when they think of, the tomato sauce and the savoriness. But next time you look at the pizza sauce, just read the side label, and I think you might be as shocked as I was when I started studying this stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for playing. You all are sincerely amazing. All right. So looks like we've got 40 seconds there. So grab your parsley. We're going to, I think the recipe calls for 1 to 2 tablespoons. I'm going to grab 2 to 3 heads. In my world, you can never have too much parsley. Let's see what it says for real. Oh, 1 tablespoon chopped. Okay. So I'm just going to grab about that much. And I'm going to chop the tops of the parsley and just chop it as fine as what you are comfortable with. I don't always have a lot of patience, so that's why I'm a huge fan of coarse. When I say coarse, it's usually because I just don't have a lot of patience. And it's all good. I'm still getting that nutrition in, and we will get it bite-sized so that nobody chokes. I don't want anybody choking on and I am feeding the family this evening. So just chop that parsley to as small as what makes sense to you. Parsley, basil, dill, pretty much any of these beautiful green herbs, they are amazing detoxifiers for our kidneys and our livers. So keep that in mind next time you're thinking it's just for beauty, although, this is so beautiful, right? But it's actually more beautiful inside of our bodies. So that's really hot. Let me grab a hot, safety first. I'm gonna grab a hot pad to grab the lid. It's looking like we're getting a good simmer there. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I don't have one of those professional cameras where the arm can go like that and you can see the simmering, but if you're cooking along, hopefully your dumplings have expanded as well. So I'm just going to grab a toothpick and I'm going to grab my largest dumpling and just put a toothpick in the middle and see if it comes out clean. Mostly clean. I think I'm going to give it a little bit more time. Let's see. Denise says, make pesto as the base for pizza instead of red sauce. Yes. In fact, we did that. I don't know if you remember the month, but I did exactly that. And I know we have the replay. I said, AARP.co, Allison? I'm so sorry, I don't remember the website, but we have the replays there. So if anybody wants to learn how to make their own basil and basil pizza, we've got you. Okay, so parsley is chopped. Now we can answer the question of the arrowroot. So I like to use arrowroot in place of cornstarch because corn can be inflammatory for many people. I know for me, it kind of makes my joints swell up. But arrowroot is exactly that. It's a root grown in nature, and this one is organic, and it just works very similarly. So we're going to use it to kind of thicken up the sauce here. And I found this at King Soopers, like the regular grocery store, but you can also find it at Sprouts or Whole Foods, any of your alternative grocery stores as well. And let's see what we said for the amount in this recipe. 3 tablespoons. Oh yeah, this is gonna be nice and soupy. This is like, again, it just gives you that yummy comfort feel. This is the soup I think of when I think of comfort food. So I did 3 tablespoons of the arrowroot. I call it arrowroot flour, but I think it can be called arrowroot starch. And it might get on top of your dumplings, and that's okay. You can just move it around and flip it over because we want that arrowroot in. And it's just going to make a slurry to make the soup a bit thicker. And then you just get that chicken and dumpling texture. Oh, these dumplings are so happy. Anybody else have some happy dumplings happening in their pot? Again, I'm just going like, kind of moving it around like that to make the slurry. Make it a thick soup, almost like a cream of mushroom, cream of chicken soup. But lucky us, there's no actual cream, so there's no anti-inflammatory ingredients in this pot. This is our culinary nutrition masterpiece. We've got that gorgeous orange, the beta carotene from the carrots. We've got the delicious celery. We've got the onion and the garlic, which are both antioxidant. Just gonna keep stirring to get all that arrowroot mixed in there. Oh, it's smelling so good. Are you loving the way your kitchen is smelling right now? All right, so we'll let that simmer a bit. We're also going to add in 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And the reason I chose apple cider instead of the regular vinegar is because it has, you can see it, we call that the mother. The ingredients kind of settled at the bottom. And the mother and the apple cider vinegar is really wonderful at regulating our blood pressure and balancing our blood sugar. So we're just going to do 1 tablespoon and 1 more good stir. You want to just keep stirring towards the bottom, get that slurry, get the soup to thicken up. And I think we're almost there. We're going to leave the parsley for the last moment after we turn the heat off because the detox properties work better the more alive the plant is versus cooking it down. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. All right, so I'm going to turn it off the heat. I'm going to sprinkle in some parsley, all fancy-like. Be as fancy as you want to be. Sprinkle that parsley in. I'm going to give it another stir. Oh, that is beautiful. Are you feeling healthy already? Just by talking about these ingredients? I am looking forward to getting into my belly. All right, and it's actually, looks like my hot top is still really hot, so I'm going to move this over, so I don't want to overcook it. And now it's time to scoop it into our bowl. I typically do 2 to 3 dumplings because as you saw, they expanded in the pot, so they are definitely going to expand in our bellies as well. So 2 to 3 usually gets me pretty satiated, and I can always come back for more. At least that's what I tell myself if I'm hungry afterward. But this typically really fills me up. And you can see, Yum. All right. Let me grab a spoon and we can taste it together. And actually, before I taste it, looks like we might have some questions. Let's see here. So Denise says, that's what we do at home. Add grilled veggies and parm on top. So good. Love the grilled veggies part. Yum. And then Denise is asking, how do you store it? I'm wondering, are you asking about the pesto? If you're asking about the pesto, I store it in a glass jar and it'll last in my fridge for up to 2 to 3 weeks. If you're asking about the dumplings, I would actually still use the glass jar. I try not to eat meat products after 3 to 4 days in the fridge, so it just starts to turn. It's just not that great for us. Let's see. And then Rhonda says, yes, Denise, our favorite grilled pizza to make is with pesto and zucchini. Yum! Delicious! And zucchini is loaded in vitamin C, so A+ to Rhonda. Nicely done. Oh, and then Denise is asking the arrowroot. How do I store the arrowroot? Yeah, I actually just leave it in this bag because it zips up nicely. So similar to flour, just so that it doesn't get messy. But if I were really on my game, I would totally store it in, what do you know? Glass jars. That's really my thing. I like to store as much as I can in the glass jars just because with the plastic sometimes chemicals can seep into your food. The glass jars, everything's nice and safe. And stuff tends to stay fresher for longer in the glass jars as well. All right. Well, if that's it, then let's dig in and taste. I'm going to get a little bit of dumpling on the spoon, and isn't that just fun to say? Dumpling. A little bit of dumpling and a whole lot of veggies and some yummy soup, and we'll see how this batch turned out. And I'm not going to burn myself because I want to enjoy it. But while this bite is cooling off, I will tell you, this makes an awesome dinner. Of course, that's what we're doing tonight. But it also makes a really delicious leftover for lunch. So it's one less thing you have to think about tomorrow. And then lastly, it stores very well. You can freeze it. Again, I'd probably use glass and I would freeze it. And so you can make a big batch and just eat it throughout the month if you wanted to. So I really hope this has been helpful. Okay, here we go. Now you can see how I eat. Clearly I feel very comfortable with you all because that was a really big bite. And it was so good, but I think mine needs a little bit more sea salt. It wasn't quite as flavorful as I was hoping for. So you know me, I keep it real, I keep it honest. So I think that's gonna do the trick, but otherwise I'm loving the texture. I'm loving that kind of soft gooiness with the dumpling, the crunchiness with the celery, the soft, delicious carrot. That is really good. So I hope you are loving yours as well. Before I go, just a reminder, hopefully you found your handout, but if not, watch the replay and you can copy and paste what Denise put on the inside the chat. And what else? We'll be back in February, so I would love to have you back in the kitchen here with AARP. And I think that might be it for now. Let me double check the comments to see if there's anything else before we sign off. Beverly says, just learned a trick for shredding chicken. Boil to 165 degrees, then put it in a bowl and use a hand mixer to shred it. Oh, really easy. I love that tip. Thank you for sharing. That's an amazing tip. I will try that next time. With that said, you don't have to use chicken. I actually made this last month with the leftover turkey. And I know a lot of us will be celebrating holidays in the next few weeks that might have a turkey involved. So feel free to do this recipe with your leftover turkey. It turned out really delicious. All right, Carol says, delicious, thank you. Denise, thank you for the presentation. Great fun. Yay. Thank you so much for being here. Great session. Thank you so much. Allison says we will get the handout to you as soon as possible. Katie says, how do you replay? Katie, I'm pretty sure tomorrow morning when you check your inbox, you'll see a link for the replay there. Thank you from California. You are welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the great class. Love your positivity. You are welcome, Karen. So happy to have you this evening. personable. You guys are awesome. Fun, awesome. That's one of my personal values. So I'm honestly so grateful it comes through. Has been great, Marissa says. Thank you for being here, Marissa. And Allison says, we usually do the first February of the, first February of the month. I think maybe she's saying the first Thursday. So that is true. So starting in February, the first Thursday of the month, I will be back every other month. And if I can get more creative, which, feel free to send me some creative vibes. Hopefully I'll come back even more. So I would love, love, love to share and commune with you. Let's see. Allison says, ha, ha, ha. I adore you, Allison. And that's actually what I wanted to say at the top of the hour. My one thing I am super grateful for is Allison. Can we just give Allison a bravo, what, a hand clap? She has been working so hard this year as program director, bringing amazing programming to you all. And I just feel so grateful, Allison, that you have included me in your circle. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful. All right, let's see. So Ricky says, put the link for the recipe. I can't get to the beginning of the comments. All right, Ricky, we will get you. I promise. We've got all your emails. We will hook you up. You have my word. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see. And Beverly gave all caps. That's right. Bravo, Allison. Thank you, Allison, for all the hard work you do. All right. Oh, yay. And see, of course, Allison is putting the ingredients and the directions in the chat now because that's how awesome she is. All right. Oh, and Ricky says, thanks from North Carolina. I love it. Thanks so much for checking in, Ricky, because I know it's a little late on that side over there, that side of the world. So thanks for hanging in there with us. And Katie Lee says, yay, Allison, you are great. Yes, amen. Yes, she is. And she just posted the directions. If you want to copy and paste those, maybe you want to copy and paste it into a Word doc, or if you have a notes app on your iPad, I'm happy to stand here for just a few more moments so you can grab that information, and then you can make this delicious dish whenever you want to. Let's see. Armand says, thank you so much. Both love these classes. Thanks from San Francisco. I love that we're so connected, like across the United States of America. So glad you're here, Armand. Thank you for being here and tuning in. And let's see. Looks like there's more. Oh, the ingredients for the dumplings. Allison just posted that. Thank you so much, Allison. You rock. As I look around, let's see if there's anything I missed. Oh my goodness. You all didn't call me out. And I knew something was missing. Guess what was missing? Oh, okay, that's really funny to me. I hope that's funny to you. Let's just go ahead and put that chicken in this warm pot of soup so that we can actually have the chicken along with the dumpling part. Okay. So see, we had technology issues. Clearly, we're having issues with the Culinary Nutritionist tonight. I'm just going to chalk that up to something happening in the universe, but it always ends up working out in the end, right? Let's try that again, because I do want to get that protein in my body, and I do want to serve this protein to my family. They're going to get a really good kick out of this one. And it actually looks a lot heartier and more delicious with the actual chicken in it, too. All right, how are we on time? Looks like we've got 3 more minutes for me to actually taste the true, the one and only chicken and dumplings. Chicken and dumplings, take 2. Here we go. That is really funny to me. You just never know what'll happen on one of these live shows, right? Okay, now I'll do the chicken presentation. Now you can see what it looks like with the actual chicken. Let's see. Kathy says, I was wondering why you didn't mention the taste of the chicken. Thank you, Kathy. Here we go. Now we'll get some chicken on the spoon along with the taste of the dumpling, along with the taste of the veggies. And it's actually still hot, so I'm going to give this a moment as I see if anybody else is laughing with me. April says, I thought it was vegetarian. Thank you, April, for hanging with me. So yes, there you go. The way I made it the first round, absolutely vegetarian. Oh, except for the chicken broth. If we would have used vegetable broth, then it would have been perfectly vegetarian. But I did use chicken broth in this one. Let's see. Katie says, so funny and so real. Good. Thanks for laughing with me, Katie. I appreciate it. Beverly says, too funny. Marissa says, didn't even notice. You are very entertaining. Might be began. I'm not sure. And then Beverly says, I bet it will taste even better now. Yes, because now we have the extra sea salt and we've got the chicken, which will add a little bit of more of that salty texture and flavor. And Katie says, when do you usually add the chicken? Great question, Katie. Actually, really at the end. So I put it in with the same time as the parsley because the chicken is already cooked. And so because the soup is so warm, it heats it up really fast already. So turn the heat off, put the chicken in, put the parsley in. So thank you for asking. All right. Oh, got it. Vegan, Marissa says. I'm with you. Okay. And Ricky says, that's hysterical. No more martinis before class. Okay, I'll pipe down on the alcohol. Thanks, Ricky. He says, I went to college at CU in Boulder. Oh, I love that. You get jazz hands for CU in Boulder. We love our, oh, I almost said the wrong animal. Buffaloes. Not that R word. Rams. We love our buffaloes. So awesome. Okay, here we go. Now it's cooling up. So much better. I definitely prefer it with the chicken. And now we have reached our time for real this time. So thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for laughing with me. I hope you love this recipe. And I hope you come back in February to see us and to cook with us. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Oh, Allison says, one more question. Let's see. Amy says, my dumplings came out a little dense. What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. I would say maybe just cook it a little shorter time next time. Maybe instead of the whole 12 minutes that we went, maybe try 10 minutes. But it's still good. It's still covered with all the creamy yumminess of the chicken broth. So dense, yeah, but hopefully it still has some of that yummy chewiness to it as well. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Allison says, okay, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. You guys are awesome. Have a good night.